presentation of Fox Sports.
We are Baltimore. We are Minnesota.
This Sunday, Tigers and Twins game is presented by Super America. Get your non-whole Kids Day voucher at any local Super America. Game number 4, Twins and the Tigers. Minnesota looking to win the final series before they head into the All-Star break and take momentum with them as they head out to Oakland later this week. Brian Dozier had the heartbreak along with Twins fans of not getting in with the Vote Dozier steam all week long, but the wrong was made right yesterday with Jose Bautista out of Toronto. Brian Dozier officially an All-Star. He and Glenn Perkins will represent the Minnesota Twins in Cincinnati later this week. Welcome inside Target Field, another large crowd on hand for Game 4 of this series. It's overcast and warm. Perfect way to close out the first half of the season. It's been a good week for the Minnesota Twins. They've gone 5-1 in this homestand. It's been a fantastic week for Brian Dozier. Let's take a look back at the sights and sounds.
Go deep to left field, back and gone. His 17th home run of the year is a game winner. A drive to left field. Are you kidding me? What a comeback by the Twins. The most electric moment at Target Field in years.
Selected to fill out the American League roster next Tuesday in Cincinnati is a player who leads the American League with 66 runs, has 49 RBI and 19 home runs, including 2 walk-offs this week. Fans, let's hear it for 2015 All-Star, Brian Dozier.
It was pretty cool. Probably one of the, the craziest, overwhelming, joyful, I guess, highlights of my career so far. It's pretty cool. And like I said, it's because everyone's in it together, and the way it progressed this week, and all the voting and all that stuff with the fans and stuff, and we're all in this thing together. It's pretty cool.
Brian Dozier will lead the offense. Kyle Gibson will try to lead the defensive attack. And when we come back, Dick Bramer, Bert Blyleven, what Gibson has to do to shut down the Detroit Tigers.
Twins baseball on Fox Sports North is presented by Menards. Save big money at Menards on all your home improvement needs. By Luther Nissan Kia. 2 locations, 1 very low price. And by Chrysler. Enjoy your summer in style with great deals at the Chrysler Summer Clearance Event. The unofficial first half of the season comes to a close on a hot, muggy Sunday afternoon at Target Field. Twins hoping to win this series 3-1. The Tigers will send right-hander Shane Green to the mound to start against the Twins, while the Twins will send Kyle Gibson to the mound, hoping to head into the break with some momentum. And it is a steamer here at Target Field. Dick and Bert with you for the final game of the unofficial first half of the year. And the Twins, having won the last 2 games, have the comfort of knowing that they're handing the ball to the guy who's going into the break with an awful lot of momentum.
Yeah, Twins have played very well here at home, and they'd like to end the break with Kyle Gibson doing what he's been doing so well. A sinker ball pitcher over his last 4 starts, 3-1, very good earned run average. And you can see almost 26 innings in the 4 starts. That's what they would like to get out of Gibson here. Go deep into the ball game and hopefully get some ground ball outs.
And on a day when the Wimbledon Men's Championship was played, baseball reaches its break point. It's already been a good homestand for the Twins. They hope to make it a great one. Baseball season begins with hopes of a storybook ending, with chapters throughout the year that keep you on the edge of your seat. Each trip to the ballpark is a story of its own, with a beginning, middle, and end. Perhaps you'll see something you've never seen before, something you may never see again for that matter. This week, on some picture-perfect evenings at Target Field, we've been reminded why we love baseball. The opening chapter had an all-star snub, showing everyone why he was snubbed. Deep to left field, back, and gone.
His 17th home run of the year is a game winner.
The middle had its plot twist, giving the villain its due. Yet this week's chapter closed with the definition of a storybook ending. A drive to left field! Are you kidding me? The most electric moment at Target Field in years!
I got goosebumps.
Fans, let's hear it for 2015 All-Star, Brian Dozier!
However, this story is far from over. After today, the game takes a break to honor its best. When it returns in just 73 games, the final chapters will be written with hopes alive of a fairy tale ending. It's Military Appreciation Day here at Target Field. The flyovers from some World War II vintage airplanes. And we're very happy to wrap up the first half of the schedule for you with the Twins playing very good baseball as they go into the break. Kevin Gork, Bert Blylev, and Dick Bramer with you. Brad Ausmus hoping his team will not continue to limp into the break. If they lose today, Bert, they're a 500 club at the break.
Who cares?
Okay.
I want the Twins to win.
Menard's batting order for the Twins. Ian Kinsler will lead things off. Yoenis Cespedes, Victor Martinez hitting third. J.D. Martinez going to the All-Star game. Alex Avila, Nick Castellanos, Mark Krause, Anthony Goes in the backup shortstop for the American League Tuesday in Cincinnati. Jose Iglesias.
Yeah, you know, Dick, Detroit fans care, of course, but that's one area I think that Detroit will look at. Hey, offensively, very good hitting ball club, and that's what Kyle Gibson is going to be facing here today. For the third time, Kyle Gibson will be facing the Detroit Tigers. And 0-1 so far in the first two starts. He had one bad one, and that was his first start this year against the Tigers. But every starter had a bad one against the Tigers in their first three ball games, but then pitched very well against the Tigers in Detroit back in the middle of May.
Northland Ford defense for the Twins. Eddie Rosario in left, Aaron Hicks in center, Torrey Hunter in right. Luke Santana, Dozier, and Bauer, the infielders. Eric Fryer gets his second start behind the plate. And as the players look forward to the All-Star break, so too do the umpires who really have it tough. They don't have any home games. Mark Wagner, a Twin Cities native, has the pleasure and the convenience of finishing the first half in his hometown, a Cretin-Derham Hall graduate. And I'm sure, I don't know, but I'm guessing Mark will spend his All-Star break here with family and friends in the Twin Cities area. Ian Kinsler will lead things off.
Well, this is the time, of course, the last game before everybody kind of goes their separate ways and tries to relax. They try to relax for 4 days before that West Coast trip that starts in Oakland next Friday.
Kinsler, Cespedes, and Martinez to get things started. Twins lost a ball game on Thursday night, dramatically winning one Friday, convincingly winning one yesterday, ball one.
Well, Kyle has been pitching outstanding over his last three starts. He has a 1.74 earned run average. He's won all three ball games, looking for his first win against the Tigers this year. And he's a ground ball pitcher. Hopefully he'll get a lot of ground balls here this afternoon. Ground ball outs. 3
wins in a row, and in his innings pitched 9 times he's faced just 3 men in an inning, which is good, of course. But in his last start, I think the best snapshot, if you will, of his improvement this year, in each of the first 2 innings, he had a mess on his hands. A leadoff double, then a 1-out double after a leadoff single. It was a first and third, 1 out in the first inning, a leadoff double in the second, and he pitched around that difficulty to put a 0 up.
And that's one thing we have seen this year from Kyle Gibson, just the experience of what he went through last year. Stay away from the multi-run innings, and he's done a very good job of that, coming in with an ERA just over 3.
And to the right side past Dozier into right field. Kinsler with a leadoff single.
Well, Gibson's last start came Tuesday here against the Baltimore Orioles. 6 good innings, a couple runs allowed, and that came off the bat of J.J. Hardy late in his outing. 1 walk, 7 strikeouts, threw 108 pitches, a little bit high on the pitch side, but as you mentioned, Dick, a lot of pitches in the first 2 innings to get out of those jams.
Twins will try to find a way to get this guy out. They haven't figured out anything yet. Neither is Gibson, for that matter. Yoenis Cespedes with a runner at first and nobody out.
Yeah, Cespedes not going to the All-Star game, but has All-Star type numbers. This guy against the Twins has pretty much tortured the Twins.
3 for 6. Excuse me. 3 for 5 against Gibson in his career. 1 strike. And yet the Twins got him out. At least Phil Hughes got him out in maybe the seminal at bat of the game yesterday, striking out Cespedes in the 5th with Hughes appearing to be running on fumes. He was able to strike him out in a key spot in the middle of the game.
Currently on a 9-game hitting streak where he's hitting .372 and 7 for 14 so far in the first 3 games.
1-1 to Cespedes. Gibson's gotten 19 ground ball double plays turned behind him this year. Pulled foul, 1-2.
Yeah, only teammate Mike Pelfrey has more double plays turned behind him with 20. Kyle, 27 years old in his 3rd season with the Twins. This afternoon for Kyle, this will be career start number 59.
Close at first. Kinsler gets back.
Kyle, very good move to first. Quick feet. Only 3 stolen bases off of him in 4 attempts.
Now, we asked last night, that's where you say the pickoff throw should be, correct?
Right about the belt.
Belt high on the runner side of first base. Tap foul.
Yeah, if you're lucky, you can put it right by the bag, but it's a dangerous throw because, the runner sliding in, maybe a short hop and gets away from Mauer. Marvin, the scowl right there whispering into the ears of Kinsler.
Really be important for accurate pickoff throws after the break because the Twins will be in Oakland.
Why?
Well, there's a lot of foul.
Much foul territory there.
1-2. There's a ball tapped up the line. Foul. The homestand record, as impressive as it is, 5-1, really doesn't begin to tell the story of what's happened here this week. Paul Molitor said, Twins had a great intense series in Kansas City, won 2 of them, lost 2 of them, and it would be natural for any team to maybe set back a little bit or not be able to stay at that level.
And what was little letdown.
Little letdown. That's what I was trying to say. 1-2 to Cespedes inside. And he said instead, this Twins team in this series, in the sweep over Baltimore and so far in this series against Detroit, they've climbed another level. And I do believe this from the bottom of my heart. I think that has really resonated with Twins fans. Whether it's done anything to build the confidence in the clubhouse, that's for the players to decide. But I know in the fan base, this week has really been important to convince Twins fans that this is going to be a fun second half.
Yeah, as you get deeper into the season, the Twins, they'll say, well, yeah, they're lucky the first, 20, 30 games here. But the Twins are 30-16 here at Target Field.
There is one team in the American League that has a better record than the Twins right now, and that, of course, the team that the Twins are chasing, the Kansas City Royals. 2-2 to Cespedes. And another foul.
Eric Fryer catching Gibson here this afternoon. Ball in and out of his glove. So good battle here between Gibson and Cespedes. There's Fryer in his 2nd game since being called up.
Very good defensive catcher, and this year at AAA he's been hitting over 300 and had a good first day in the starting lineup here the other day. 2-2 again to Cespedes.
Kinsler at first base, 6 stolen bases in 10 attempts.
Twins, of course, chasing the Royals, and they've got a 4.5 game lead over the Twins, but the Twins marginally better than Houston, marginally better than the Yankees and the Angels. Gibson's had put in a lot of work already, facing just his 2nd batter. And another foul. That sinker down and in, and Cespedes keeps getting a piece of it.
Yeah, he's trying to get that sinker down and in to hit a ground ball, but Cespedes fouling him off. 8 pitches so far in this at bat. Gibson making his 8th career start against the Tigers. That's the most starts against any team.
Gibson will try it again on 2-2. And the Twins have tried everything. They've tried pitching Cespedes hard inside, getting him off the plate. and they just can't seem to find a hole in his swing.
Yeah, the only thing that I have seen him strike out on is that slider down and away. He will chase that pitch down and away. Especially now, everything's in. But that's Gibson's game right there. That sinker down and in, getting some ground ball outs.
He's already thrown 13 pitches in this inning, looking for his first out.
Now Fryer, watch where he sets up again, inner half.
Grounder to Plouffe.
Good pick.
Well, it took a while, but they got the double play.
Good pick. And just like that, he ties teammate Mike Pelfrey for now the major league lead in double plays turned behind him.
That was not my expected outcome, with Cespedes fouling this pitch over and over again, and he hit it right where Gibson wanted him.
That ball came up nicely for Trevor Plouffe, maybe a little bit higher than he expected, but nice play. And then another double play turned by the Twins.
10th pitch of the at-bat, finally the double play grounder, and now Victor Martinez.
No team has turned more double plays than the Minnesota Twins in the American League.
Now, as you've always cautioned, that can mean a bad thing, that you've got a lot of guys on base. But in this case, the Twins have two starters who are the league leaders in getting ground ball double plays. I don't think it's fair to categorize Gibson as a guy who gives up an awful lot of base runners.
He's given up less hits to innings pitched, and that's one thing I always looked at was I wanted to give up less hits to innings pitched. You saw Pelfrey right there.
And up and in to Victor Martinez. How costly yesterday was Martinez's ejection from the game in the middle of the game yesterday afternoon?
Yeah, I was watching a ball game, and he had the right to argue, but Marty Foster, Victor Martinez must have said something to him. Marty Foster, the third base umpire here this afternoon, that he ejected him.
Hicks charging, makes the catch of the line drive, and Gibson has another inning where he faces just 3 batters. Staff for the All-Star game this year, and he for family reasons and professional reasons say they would really be honored, but he passed on it. First year managing, team heads out on the West Coast.
He's had a full plate.
He needs a little time to decompress, and he will go to the break with this starting lineup brought to you by Menards. Brian Dozier, Torrey Hunter, Joe Mauer, Miguel Sano, Trevor Plouffe, Eddie Rosario, Aaron Hicks, Eric Fryer, and Danny Santana.
And right-handed Shane Green will be on the mound here this afternoon for the Detroit Tigers. Just getting recalled from AAA. Now, he was sent down for a couple reasons. He was not pitching well. You can see the high earned run average. He started the season off great, but then fell into a little funk, and they sent him down to work on his off-speed pitches. Brad also saying that he was very pleased with the way that the results were and the reports were from AAA that he was changing speeds better.
And boy, do the Tigers need him to find his form. This is a very top-heavy rotation that the Tigers have. They're set with Price and Verlander, at least the Verlander we saw here on Friday. But after that, Dozier hit by the bunt in the box, 2 strikes.
Yeah, Green this is his 3rd start against the Twins. His opening debut start as a Detroit Tiger came against the Twins. That back on April 9th against Kyle Gibson, and Tigers ended up winning that ball game 7-1. And then here, the Tigers, he got a no decision, but the Tigers ended up winning 10-7. He did not pitch well. 7 runs in 4 1/3 innings.
Left the ball game early, and that's the game where Phil Hughes had to leave early because of injury. Twins bullpen had some issues. Little roller left side. Castellanos has it. Dozier hustling down the line. Close play. Brian Dozier looking to the Twins dugout. We may have an early challenge here. A slow bouncer, and Castellanos going to his left wasn't able or didn't get much on his throw.
Well, right here, watch Castellanos kind of off balance, has to set himself and then throw across the diamond, and Brian hustling down that line, and Krause stretching out.
I think he's going to get a hit. That looked like he was safe, didn't it, or not?
We'll see if Paul Molitor wants to use it right away. They do. They want to right off the get-go. Have the umpires take a look at it.
Dozier made the All-Star team eventually because of his power, but his speed has been a secondary weapon because of the power, but he still has that, and he may have hustled his way into a leadoff single. You know, I don't want to get ahead of myself here, but based on what we've seen in terms of the fan reaction and how they have embraced this man, the standing ovation yesterday, maybe the exclamation point on what has happened to Brian in the recent days. But we might be witnessing a transition within the Twins organization of who the, sorry if this sounds sacrilegious, who the face of the franchise is. It's been Joe Mauer for a long time, but this guy's popularity has skyrocketed.
Well, the Twins want somebody to step up, and Brian Dozier has been that player to step up. And not taking anything away from Joe Mauer because, you know, he's signed that long-term contract, a local kid that has done so well. American League MVP, All-Star game 6 times, all that stuff. But you see, you want your youngsters to step up, and Brian Dozier's done that.
Here's a look at what we think is the definitive replay, and I don't know how definitive that is. Get that quarter out, because that really was the turning point of the game Friday when we had the coin flip on Rosario's.
And somebody told me that that quarter is worth about $3.
That's why I was going to give you 25 cents.
There it is.
That really turned the whole game around.
That was a 1963, I believe, point.
Because of the silver content.
Right.
I bet you still have that quarter.
I still have it. It's in my bag. Yeah. So I got $3 in my bag.
They lose the challenge
right off the get-go.
They lose the challenge, and that's could be impactful here over the course of this game.
Yeah. So the play goes 5-3 for the first out. It was so close.
Yep.
My goodness.
There is no tie goes to the runner anymore. Tie goes to the original call.
Call stands.
Not confirmed, and there is that distinction, of course. There just was not overwhelming evidence to reverse it. Here is Hunter.
At about a 2-minute delay. Not bad.
Down and away, 2-0. Within this week, there have been so many dramatic moments, and secondarily one yesterday. Brian Dozier, who's had just a tremendous homestand, hit the big home run. On an 0-2 pitch yesterday, got smoked in the back of his left elbow. And one pitch later, Torrey Hunter hit maybe his longest home run ever as a Twin. Chapter 1 included.
That went into the Jose Batista area up in the third deck. They measured it at 425 feet.
Now, there was no taunting and no finger pointing or anything like that, but even Paul Molitor acknowledged you really like to see that when your guy gets drilled, as Dozier did. This wasn't a glancing blow, and the next guy steps up and clobbers one.
No, it was an 0-2 pitch. They tried to pitch him inside and ended up hitting Brian Dozier, but against Buck Farmer, the next pitch, Torrey Hunter clobbered it.
Here it is. It went a long way.
Yeah, you're going to give him up. You want to give them up like this. That uppercut swing. And you sit up on the third deck and you think, okay, well, this is a nice view, but there'll never be a ball hit up here.
Granddad muscles, is what they said. Here's Mauer. Twins trying to break out on top against Shane Green. Outside. One of the reasons Green was sent down too, you mentioned they wanted him to work on his off-speed stuff, but he was pitching tentatively, and because of that, behind in the count a lot. That's hard to do that to Brian. He likes to swing early, but Torrey Hunter took a quick walk. Now ball one to Mauer.
Well, Green coming over from the Yankee organization in a 3-team trade over the winter, including the Diamondbacks.
1-1.
And you know, you look at Green and the way he started, first 3 starts, he was 3-0. He'd only given up 1 earned run in 23 innings, and you're thinking, oh boy, they found a little pot of gold right here. But then over his next 4 starts, and then his last 10 starts, he was 1-6 with an 8.6 ERA. So he went from good to back to AAA.
Inside, 2-1. As we said, the Tiger rotation's very top heavy with a couple of former Cy Young Award winners, but frankly, I don't know if they're sure what they want to do with Alfredo Simon, who pitched yesterday. We've got Green in the rotation now. Buck Farmer may get a chance. Anibal Sanchez has pitched well as of late. Twins, of course, won't face him in this series.
You know, Green, I think, is kind of going through, and he hasn't had that many major league starts. This is just his 28th major league start. Kind of what Kyle Gibson went through last year. You know, you don't have a lot of big league innings, only 147 coming into this game. So you have to take the good with the bad, and the demotion, he took it, he went down, he pitched well, and now he's back up again.
See what Mauer does in this 3-1 pitch. Left center field. Fairly deep, running to the gap, a diving catch by Anthony Goes.
Wow. What a great running catch. Goes had to go a long way for that ball and caught it right at the edge of the warning track. So Mauer, looking for an extra base hit, is robbed by Goes. Ball had some hang time, and that allowed Goes, who was playing pretty straight up, go a long way and make a nice diving catch.
I don't know that this is going to be a good day to have balls hit in the air from the pitching perspective. Little bit of breeze blowing out to left, not much, but very humid, and it's the opposite of what people think. If the air feels heavy, the ball actually carries farther. Here is Sano. And he takes strike one. Sano with unreal numbers, hitting just under 400, a slugging percentage of over 600, an on base percentage of over 500.
13 hits in 33 at bats. This is the 11th game. He's hit safely in 9 of the 10 games he's played so far.
Foul back, 2 strikes. Northland Ford defense for Detroit. You saw Goes go and get one. Cespedes can do that. J.D. Martinez, an all-star in right. Castellanos, Iglesias, left side of the infield. Kinsler and Krause on the right side. And Avila behind the plate. 0-2 to Miguel Sano. A deep drive to left.
Oh, he hung it.
Gone. A home run for Miguel Sano.
Yeah, Green hung that curveball right there ahead in the count. Sano did not miss it.
On an 0-2 pitch.
Yeah. Sano hitting his second home run. Now has 8 RBIs in his first 11 games. Banging his chest. Oh, look at this pitch. This is a pitcher's nightmare right here. When you're ahead in the count, you don't want to make a mistake like that. And Sano took advantage of that hanging breaking ball. Twins take a 2-0 lead.
And the results for Shane Green, not what he had hoped in the first inning. Trevor Plouffe, the batter, bases empty and 2 down. Strike on the outside corner. And a breaking ball away.
Home run measured at 384 feet. Just enough to get over that railing and the fence.
On the ground, 3 hops to Kinsler. A 1-out walk, a 2-run home run, and a quick start for the Twins. The designated hitter position. He's only played in the field once. J.D. Martinez will lead off second.
He's having a great year. You can see what he's been able to do the last 25 ball games, driving 32 runs thanks to 15 home runs. But the Twins have really handled him pretty well in this series. 3 hits and 13 at bats. We'll see how Kyle Gibson goes about the business, because J.D. Martinez has 2 home runs against him this year.
Martinez, Avila, and Castellanos. One of the reasons Twins feel that Martinez does so well against Gibson, he seems to be a hitter who prefers to have the ball down, and we've seen him drive balls out the opposite field on pitches down or even below the knees. Swing and a miss. 0-2.
Now, Kyle had those games against the White Sox, the Oakland A's, and then that start in Detroit where he had 20 consecutive shutout innings. And J.D. Martinez in the 4th inning kind of ruined that. He hit a solo home run off of Gibson to end that 20 inning of shutout baseball.
This one driven to the gap in right center field. Hunter chasing it, plays it on a hop. Martinez will have a single.
Oh, that ball up right there. Thing about Martinez and Gibson twofold. Gibson not a strikeout pitcher. He's going to give that hitter, probably something to hit. We'll do a little pitch by pitch. Gibson gets that breaking ball over, but you can see Martinez pretty much took that hanger. And then the changeup down and away. And then the high fastball up. And Martinez not only hitting for power, the average very good too.
Here's Alex Avila. His average not very good. Getting the start today. Outside a ball.
Tell you what, as a pitcher, when you're out there like Kyle Gibson and you have that sinker, even though you give up that leadoff base hit, I'm sure he just thinks, okay, that little 2-seamer down and away, I'm going to work some of these guys inside, but when I need that ground ball out, boy, I'm going to rely on that sinker on a nice hot day. Ooh, keep it down, get that good sink, make Avila beat it into the ground.
There's the outside corner. I thought Paul Molitor brought up an interesting point in his session with the media today. We talk so much about the improved Twins defense, and we tend to focus on the outfield because it's been very good. But really, from the first 6 weeks or so of the season, the infield defense has been very good. Most of Danny Santana's errors came in the first month. He's tightened things up there. Dozier's been good throughout. Mauer's solid, and maybe the most improved infielder, Trevor Plouffe.
That's what I was going to say. Trevor Plouffe, even that first ball that Cespedes hit, that ball kind of came up on him, but he made it look easy and then helped turn that double play.
2-1 to Avila. Three and one. Castellanos on deck.
He's trying to clip that corner down and away. He's missed. Now you have to set your sights over a little bit. You don't want to walk this guy right here. You've already have Martinez at first base. Need Avila to swing the bat.
Avila with 17 hits and 19 walks. Half swing but a strike.
Avila in his 7th season with the Tigers. He made an all-star team back in 2011. But the last couple of years, because of concussion issues, his average has been down. Hit only .218 last year in 124 ball games.
Full count. Tap foul.
A changeup right there.
You know, a few years ago, it looked like as Mauer was wrapping up his catching tenure, as it turned out, there were going to be some great developing young catchers in the American League Central. Tigers had Avila, Carlos Santana with Cleveland, and then we'd heard at the time of Salvador Perez, an up-and-coming catcher, but really Perez is clearly the best catcher in the division now. And Avila takes a called third strike as Gibson hits the outside corner.
Well, good for Kyle. You know, he fell behind 3-0, then the good sinker down and away for 3-2, then a foul ball, and then again working outside, framed nicely by Fryer, and holding it, and gets the call. So Gibson picking up his first strikeout.
Here's Castellanos. Swing and a miss. Twins in Kansas City each 7-3 in their last 10. White Sox a game better than that, trying to get out of last place in the division. The Tigers doing what they've done pretty much all year long, just treading water at 5-5 over the last week and a half. Up and in.
Well, this is still a good hitting ball club even without Miguel Cabrera. They come in hitting .281, best in baseball as far as team average.
Dribbled in front of the plate. Fryer looks at second and then fires into center field. He looked at second, he looked at first, and then ended up throwing wildly to second.
Yeah, it was almost like he didn't know where to throw. He picked up the ball, thought about second, and then he looked like he was going to think first, and then all of a sudden, okay, just airmailed it over the head of Brian Dozier, who was at second base. It's Hicks that has to get the ball back in. So Fryer will be charged with an error on the fielder's choice.
First and third, one down, and now Mark Krause. Gibson really would like to get another ground ball here. $15 at bats for the Tigers. Just 2 hits, one of them a home run. Missing the inside corner.
Krause, 27 years old, started the season in the Angel organization and then traded over to the Tampa Bay Rays and then claimed off waivers by the Tigers on July 6th. He's got some power.
Bouncer to short.
Turn it.
Santana bobbles, and Dozier can't make the relay in time. The Tigers will get an unearned run. Just a little bit of a bobble on a broken back grounder, and it's 2-1.
Yeah, the ball not hit sharply, but it's looked like a double play that probably should have been turned behind Kyle. Right off the end of the bat, Santana trying to get it, the ball come up a little bit, has a little trouble getting that grip on the baseball. By the time he does, it's maybe 2 extra steps for Krause, and he gets across the first base bag, stays out of the double play.
Twins have played 10 straight errorless games. Now the throwing error by Fryer has helped get the Tigers on the board. Here's Anthony Goes. Check swing and a called strike.
Goes sharing time with Rajay Davis out in center field.
Another busted bat roller. Santana fires to Mauer. That ends the inning. Tigers answer with an unearned run in the second. Coors timeless moment of this date in 1988. Terry Steinbach homered in his first at bat as an all-star, bouncing right off the top of the fence in right field. The A's catcher becomes the first major leaguer to have homered in his first major league at bat in an all-star game, and also in his first major league at bat. Twins were represented that year by Gary Gaetti, Tim Laudner, Kirby Puckett, and Jeff Reardon. Frank Viola started the game for the American League. Found it interesting. The Twins most recently went to the World Series. Here's Rosario driving one to right field, and J.D. Martinez is there for the catch one.
Yeah, Rosario had a good game yesterday, 3 hits. That's a career high game, but jumped on that first pitch, lined it to Martinez for the first out.
Here's Aaron Hicks. With the Royals sending 7 players to the All-Star game this year, having been to the World Series. Last time the Twins were in the World Series, the next year Tom Kelly managed, only 3 Twins went. Rick Aguilera, Chuck Knobloch, and Kirby Puckett was voted in. Here's Hicks, who's had a good series as well.
Well, it was a different voting system back then.
Yes, and my guess is we'll have a different voting system next year. I think there's some obvious flaws in the system.
Trial and error.
Outside, when you think about it now, there's the whole notion of manually filling out a ballot punching it out at the ballpark, and that's kind of the way it was done. But that seems so 20th century, you know?
That is still fun for the fans. I've talked to some fans that they kind of miss that.
Really?
Yeah, they come to the ballpark and they want to punch out Torrey Hunter's name or Joe Mauer's name at the ballpark.
Yeah, I talked to the cleaning crews, and they hated it. 3-0 to Hicks. And he'll take a strike.
Aaron's been swinging a better bat since he's come off the disabled list. Just showing so much more confidence up there at the plate.
And there's a. Oh, Hicks thought it was ball 4, and Mark Wagner said it was strike 2.
We can hear Tom Bernansky in the background. Almost on every. Boy, that ball's
right there.
Right there. Good
That's
pitch.
a strike. Way to go, Mark Wagner. There's ball 4. A 1-out walk. Twins got one of those in the first inning. Hicks has borne no resemblance to the player we saw here the first 2 years, and that's one of the reasons why this Twins lineup in July. Another look at the last pitch to Hicks.
I remember here on Friday night, Dick. You know, just a little bit lower, but
what? You're saying
I'm pulling for Aaron. Okay.
Okay.
Right there.
All right.
Yeah. No, that was a strike. You know, we talked about Friday night about the walk that Hicks took in that 9th inning that helped set up that 7-run comeback.
I heard a theory on my way home that night on a radio network, not the Twins radio network, that the challenge at second base, Rosario, remember, took off on a stolen base attempt, was originally called out. The Twins got the call changed, which really was a key play in that inning. Inside, and it did hit him. No, it didn't. He bent over like he was going to drop his bat inside a ball. I heard a theory that the 2.5-minute delay, whatever it was, impacted Soria, the closer. Do you buy into that at all?
I don't buy into that.
I didn't either, but who cares what I think? You're the pitcher.
No, you have time to, move around, throw a little bit extra if you want to. It's part of the game now with the replays.
Probably a bigger factor is the fact that Soria had pitched that night in his 3rd game in a row. And as the inning lengthened, pitches seemed a little bit flatter, and he ended up making a huge mistake to Brian Dozier that we will remember, most of us, I think, for the rest of our lives. What a great.
Oh, what a comeback.
Oh, man. 1-0. Fryer chops it foul.
Yeah, Eric Fryer in his 2nd game since being called up. Chris Herman optioned down to AAA. And AAA, you mentioned, Dick, Fryer was hitting .299 in 51 ball games. Drove in 16 runs. But he's always been known as more of a defensive type catcher. Kurt Suzuki getting the afternoon off right now, having some fun in the dugout. Fryer in his 3rd season with the Twins originally came up with the Pirates in 2011.
There goes Hicks. The pitch is inside with Fryer trying to protect Hicks, and he is thrown out, called out anyway at second base anyway. What a throw by Alex Avila.
Yeah, great throw by Avila. Might have been a hit and run. Aaron Hicks taking off, and the pitch was down and in, and Fryer looked like he tried to do everything he could just to make contact. And Avila's strong throw as Fryer went across over the plate. A quick tag of Hicks.
Twins have used up their challenge, so even if he had been safe, there wouldn't be anything the Twins could do about it.
Nice quick tag by Kinsley.
2 down. Fryer the batter now, a 2-2 count. With the regular catcher Kurt Suzuki getting an extended All-Star break, which he's due after not getting an All-Star break last year. Now 3-2. We haven't seen Green pitch much more differently than we saw here at Target Field earlier this year, where he just didn't pitch aggressively. He's run the count full to Eric Fryer, and he takes ball 4. Third walk in 8 plate appearances. Take your family to the ballpark this summer in the Minnesota Twins Our Family section, presented by Fox Sports North. Tickets in this alcohol-free section start at just $10 and include a free Schweigert hot dog and Pepsi. For ticket info, visit foxsportsnorth.com. Click on upcoming events on the Hot Topics bar.
Yeah, that game that Green pitched here, he lasted 4 1/3 innings, 7 runs. He did give up 2 home runs, a 2-run home run to Oswaldo Arcia, and also a 3-run home run, to Trevor Plouffe.
Outside to Danny Santana. So far, 8 plate appearances. There have been 3 walks, 2 lineouts, and a home run.
Yeah, 33 pitches, only 16 strikes for Green.
Checked his swing, took a strike.
Green basically a fastball pitcher. He has that 2-seam fastball, a sinking fastball, and then the 4-seamer, a slider, and a changeup.
Tap foul. 1-2. With the best home record in the American League. Second best overall record. Hoping to get to the All-Star break with a 6-1 homestand. Sano's home run giving them an early lead. 1-2 to Santana. Waiting and lifting it foul over the Tiger dugout. Twins will be done with the Tigers after today's game until September 14th. 3 games here, and then the Twins' last road trip starts in Detroit on September 25th. One and 2. Driven to right, a base hit. Fryer to second. That ball will get to the wall. Fryer to third. He is going to be held with Santana rounding second with a double, and that'll bring Dozier up with 2 men in scoring position.
Yeah, that ball hit hard off that wall, right off the cement at the bottom of the padding there, and it ricocheted right back to Martinez, who got it back in quickly. So that keeps Fryer at third base. But Santana, 4 hits and 9 at bats so far in this series. Swinging a better bat, but those pitches help right there. Fastball about thigh high that Danny hits sharply into right field. Fryer taking off with 2 outs, but he's held at third.
Now Dozier, who hit a ground ball to Castellanos. Close play at first. The Twins challenge and lost. Inside, ball 1. Said in the open, the Twins extended Dozier a multi-year extension in spring training. They were hoping that he would take his game to a higher level, and he has done that. From one of the top clutch hitters in the game. Pops this one up to right field. Martinez in. Kinsler squeezes it, and the Twins strand 2 in scoring position. They lead 2-1.
Kyle. I don't have anything nice to say about Gibby. Kind of takes a verbal beating every day, but takes it well. We love Kyle.
Funny, tons of potential.
Power sinker.
A great slider.
He's going to be a pitcher in the biggest for a long time.
Gibson is one of the young pitchers that I think is really going to have a great season this year.
If he continues to improve, I can imagine Kyle Gibson having a busy all-star break or two still playing.
Well, it's nice when your catcher has those nice words to say about you, Kurt Suzuki, because he's normally behind the plate when Kyle pitches.
Strike one to Jose Iglesias. He'll be followed by Ian Kinsler and Yoenis Cespedes. Twins in front on the strength of a Miguel Sano 2-run home run in the first. One hopper to Plouffe. And Iglesias is retired. We talked about Plouffe's improvement. Now that's a routine play. That's not tough at all. But I think the biggest improvement is in his throwing. Just about every throw is chest high right to the first baseman. Time now for you to tweet your strongest fan photo. Use hashtag North Data Strong Fan, and you might see yourself in an upcoming broadcast brought to you by T-Mobile.
Well, they always talk about infielders. Just make the routine play, and Trevor Plouffe's done a great job of that.
And now Kinsler takes a breaking ball and strike one.
Kinsler, 4-time All-Star, 3 times with the Texas Rangers. Made the All-Star team last year.
You know, last year people were lauding the Tigers on how lopsided the trade was. Ian Kinsler for Prince Fielder, and of course it was easy to do that because Fielder was hurt. Didn't play much last year. Now, in year 2 of the trade, you'd have to say advantage Texas because of the year Fielder's having.
Well, he's having a great year, but they got a great player right here in Kinsler. I mean, a guy that plays almost every ball game. He's always been a good hitter with power.
Fielder's hitting .343.
Right.
With 54 runs batted in.
Yeah, but Fielder was playing first and Cabrera at third. Where are they going to? They're going to move Cabrera over. They had to, and thank goodness Texas took some of that contract.
Right. 3-1 to Kinsler, and a ball hit down the line foul. My point was, you can too prematurely classify a trade.
Right.
You know, I mean, the Rangers hopefully will get years like this from Prince Fielder for the balance of the contract, and maybe by the end of their respective contracts, the Texas Rangers might be deemed the winner of that trade, or it might be one of those trades that helps both teams. Squirted up the line, and that'll stay foul.
Yeah, I think it's one of those trades that helps both teams. It helped move Cabrera from third to first, and then they got an all-star second baseman.
Sure didn't look too good for the Rangers last year at this time. Neck surgery for Fielder, and some wondered whether he'd ever play again, or at least play as effectively as he was. 3-2 to Kinsler with 1 gone in the third. Pulled foul.
Kinsler had 8 very good seasons with the Rangers. He was drafted by the Rangers out of the University of Missouri back in 2003. 32 years old.
And Kinsler's down on strikes, out number 2. Somewhere on this hot and humid Sunday afternoon, there's a comfortably cool Kevin Gore.
I'm
in the camera well.
I'm loving the cloud cover. I'm loving this roof over my head too, boys.
Geez.
It was fun to hear Paul Molitor talk this morning about his game plan with the 4 days off to kind of recalibrate that starting rotation when they get back to baseball on Friday in Oakland. Irvin Santana will take the ball. Phil Hughes will have the Saturday game in Oakland. And then former Oakland A Tommy Malone gets the call on Sunday. That means the man pitching today, Kyle Gibson, will start the series in Los Angeles against the Angels of Anaheim. And then obviously that means that Mike Pelfrey gets the extra time off. And Mauder did note that that was a part of the plan. They wanted to give Pelfrey nearly 2 weeks off. They also have some strategy involved with when these guys go with their numbers, not only against the teams they're pitching against, but in both those ballparks in Oakland and in Anaheim, guys. So very interesting to hear that. But Irvin Santana gets the ball on Friday night.
You know what's nice about that, Kevin and Dick, is you're talking about 5 guys that have really pitched pretty well. You know, I mean, Santana's just going to make his 3rd start, you know, after the All-Star break. But 5 very good starters going into the second half. That I think the first half, 4 of the 5 have proven that they can be consistent.
2-1 to Cespedes with 2 gone in the third. Gibson looking for his first 1-2-3 inning. 2-2. I asked Paul Molitor this morning. I said, is there any part about this first half that has surprised you? And he said, I don't like that word surprise. And really looking back, he said at his introductory press conference he expected the Twins would win this year. But he did say the one thing that he didn't expect was that the rotation would be as stable and as productive in terms of quality starts as it's been. And Gibson a big part of that. 2-2 to Cespedes. Struck him out. And Gibson has his first 1-2-3 third inning. Torrey Hunter will lead off the bottom of the inning when we come back.
One on this sultry Sunday afternoon. Torrey Hunter steps into the batter's box, and what a home run he hit yesterday. We all called the third deck. When I talked to Torrey this morning in the clubhouse, he called it the triple deck. And it was a triple decker indeed, over 420 feet. He said he's hit longer home runs, including, in his opinion, longer home runs with the Twins. But he said it was really exciting. They went up with those big boppers in batting practice. You just don't see that in a game. And he said it was an absolute blast to do that, especially considering some of his former teammates, the same teammates, guys, that were kind of mocking his little clothing ritual a couple games ago. Got to watch that up close and personal. What a blast by Hunter.
In a good spot, too, Kevin, because the Tigers were starting to come back. This ball stroked foul. And the Twins, I felt, in listening to the game, I was out on the boat listening to the game yesterday for a good part of the game.
Did you catch anything?
I didn't even try.
Oh, okay.
Fishing doesn't take a lot of brain power, but I didn't even want to expend that. I didn't even want to. So I just sat in the boat. Hunter lifts it to short right center field, and Kinsler, in fact, comes back to the skin of the infield to make the catch one away. But I sensed that the Twins needed to score the next run at that juncture, and they got 2 of them with the Hunter home run and ended up winning fairly comfortably.
Yeah, 9-5 win yesterday.
Here's Mauer. He lined out to left center field. Anthony Goes made a nice diving catch. And you'll be doing what during the All-Star break? And beyond, because we're going to miss you now for a while. You're going to be gone.
Right. Oh, I have the Hall of Fame weekend that my wife Gail and I will attend.
Ground ball second.
Keeping Kinsler busy. And then just some little R&R at home. Work on my golf game again. Maybe do some fishing. You know, it doesn't take much to throw a pole in the water.
You're supposed to throw the line in the water, not the pole. Sano has had a good homestand.
Probably why I wasn't a very good fisherman. Yeah, and then we just saw Sano here in the first inning get an 0-2 breaking ball and giving the Twins a 2-0 lead.
That's what I was doing wrong.
You were holding onto the line and throwing the reel and rod in the leg. Gotcha. 1 strike to Sano. The home run came on an 0-2 pitch. And there he is again, ahead of Sano, 0-2.
Yeah, that was a little harder breaking ball right there. Better location by Green. Now he's ahead in the count. Let's see what he tries to do here. He remembers what he did in Sano's first plate appearance.
Just missed the corner. That's what's been impressive about Sano in these at-bats where he's fallen behind. Not only has he prolonged the at-bats, he's gotten a double, a triple, a home run. He's drawn walks after falling behind 0-2.
Even that pitch right there, you know, he didn't widen his strike zone.
And that one clipped the corner. And Sano is called out on strikes, and Shane Green has a 1-2-3 third inning. To the Brainerd Lakes golf courses. Lakes and resorts are fun for everyone in the family. Visit exploreminnesota.com. Discover a world that's only in Minnesota. Tag your Minnesota experiences with hashtag only in MN. Brainerd Lakes area, wonderful area for people who like to fish, hunt in the fall, and of course play golf, horseback riding, shopping, attractions. I'm going to be up in that general area during the All-Star break.
That place has almost everything you want.
And I was planning on doing some fishing, but I had a little incident here before the game that might impact what I do during the All-Star break. Is, well, maybe you don't know based on what you just said, but the act of fishing does involve casting and flexing your right elbow. For me, I'm a right-hander, and so I was down on the field not too far from the Twins dugout by the warning track, and somebody was out in right field for the Tigers playing long toss, and the ball got away and ball rolled over by my feet, so I was going to pick it up and throw it back, and in my mid delivery to the Tiger out in right field who was playing long toss, I realized that's Justin Verlander. And so, you know, I didn't want to three hop him or anything like that.
You didn't want to roll it?
No. So I goosed it, for me. And I got it there on the fly, and it was, a rather lengthy throw. And he gave me, one of those things, a guy catches it and he kind of shakes the glove at the same time like, attaboy. He gave me one of those.
Yeah, good throw.
And I don't believe I'll be brushing my teeth with my right hand for the next 3-4 days because I can hardly grip a pencil.
Are you going to be okay for fantasy camp? Because, we have the draft, and, your name's usually, you're in a, yeah, you're toward the bottom, but they're always looking for pitching.
Yeah,
and you
I'm day to day. I'm day to day, is what I'm saying.
Aren't we all?
Yes. So,
Well, it must have been a good throw then.
It was. I mean, it was right there. Verlander didn't have to move. He caught it chest high, no hops or anything like that.
So basically, he was about 10 feet from you then.
No, it was longer than that. Okay. And I got, one of those. He caught the glove and, kind of with the gloved hand, kind of gave me a fist bump.
Wow, very nice.
I had my arm in a sling for 6 weeks, but I got one of those. 2-0 to J.D. Martinez. Half swing, should be a strike. And they're going to appeal. Yeah.
Yep.
Eric Fryer didn't immediately ask for it, but the Twins dugout, as you might have heard, right on top of it.
Yeah, Mike Winters, a crew chief down at first base, saying that Martinez' barrel of the bat went too far.
Fryer was intent on framing the pitch because he thought it was a called strike anyway. Swing and a miss, 2-2.
Good change up there. So good sinker down and in behind an account. Then he pulls the string, and that's one thing we've seen from Kyle. Very good change up, and he'll throw it at any time. So getting more and more confidence in that pitch. Fryer wanting another one. Those three, a slider.
Strike three called by Mark Wagner, 2 down.
Good tight rotation, and Gibson picks up his 4th strikeout. And of the last 4 outs, 3 comes on strikeouts.
He's now sent down 7 men in a row since the unearned run scored in the second. 2 down, and now Alex Avila. Twins will go into a pull shift for Avila. Avila was preparing to take a walk, and instead Gibson came back and struck him out in his first at bat. Over the inside corner, a strike. That's one of the things that Twins are really encouraged here in July, late June and July. Gibson's got a very live fastball, that at 94 miles per hour with some movement.
Yeah, that more the 4-seamer. The changeup right there misses low. Yeah, when you go in on a left-hander, you want to throw that 4-seamer so it doesn't come back over the plate unless you're trying to get strike 3. But working both sides of the plate is Kyle Gibson, changing speeds. 60 pitches right now, 41 strikes. There's a good breaking ball right there. So he's shown him the good 4-seam fastball inside, the changeup, and then the slider.
1-2.
Back to the slider.
Got him. 8 in a row set down by Gibson in a pair of 1-2-3 innings and a 2-1 lead. Sports North is presented by CenturyLink, your link to what's next. By NorthlandFord.com and your local Northland Ford dealer. And by Grand Casino. The best stories start here. Twins fans watching some very good baseball in this homestand. Some dramatic wins for the Twins. Some great moments. And Trevor Plouffe and the Twins will try to add on here on the fourth inning, leading 2-1. Facing Shane Green, who had a 1-2-3 third. Off the end of the bat, foul. Kansas City jumped all over the Blue Jays early on to a 6-0 lead. That's where they're at now in the fourth inning. Oakland leading Cleveland 2-0 in the ninth inning. No run support again for Corey Kluber. 2 strikes. And the Cubs are trying to win the last game of the series in Chicago. They lead the White Sox 2-0.
Good hard slider right there to Trevor Plouffe. And Green ahead in the count. He has 1 strikeout. That was Sano to end the last inning.
Inside, 2-2. Excuse me, 1-2. Plouffe, Rosario, and Hicks here in the Twins' fourth. Now 2-2. Tigers have stayed in this race. Granted, they've been really not much more than a 500 team, but they have stayed in this race because they have done very well within the division. 27-16 even after the back-to-back losses. This ball driven to right center field, and J.D. Martinez near the edge of the track hauls it in, 1 down. Sanford Health injury report. D. Gordon sliding into first base. Dislocated his left thumb yesterday.
Yeah, it's too bad because, you know, he was selected to go to the All-Star game. He'll have to miss that. And you can see the numbers he was putting up with the Marlins.
And I'll bet you over half the injuries now in baseball to fingers, hands, wrists occur with a head-first slide. And I want so badly to ask Paul Molitor about that, but of course he was a head-first slider. But in this case, a head-first slide into first base. Twins players have gotten hurt doing it. Nick Punto did it all the time. The ball fouled back 2 strikes.
You know, Dick, I was watching, I believe, a quick pitch last night, and they were talking about D. Gordon. The first base coach, I believe, is Willie Harris. And he was talking to B. Gordon about, hey, when you slide in, you have to slide in palm first. Don't slide in head first. He had warned him about it prior. And then sure enough, he dove into first base and ended up dislocating his little finger.
Byron Buxton on a head first slide into second base. Sprained his thumb. 1-2.
Sometimes it's hard to take those instincts away from somebody. You know, some guys dive into second base, other guys, you know, will slide feet first.
There's Buxton. He had a couple of really hard slides into second base, first base, and it was the left thumb, not into the base, but jamming it in the dirt.
It's almost the second time we saw when he slides. He almost slides. You see where the dirt is on his chest. He hits with his chest first, and then he almost like bounces.
Left center field, goes chasing it, and he won't get there, and it'll go to the wall. Rosario has second, and he wants one more. Eddie Rosario with his 6th hit of this series. He's 6 for 10. He lined out in the second, and now a triple in the fourth.
Yeah, like I mentioned before, in his first at-bat, 3 hits yesterday's ball game. That was a career high in a game. And right there, taking that pitch the other way, and goes who we saw make a great catch off the bat of Joe Mauer in the first inning. Couldn't quite get to that one, and it got behind him. And then Rosario, with his speed, makes it over to third. His 3rd triple for the Twins.
And now Aaron Hicks walked his first time up. He's staring at a drawn-in infield with 1 out here in the 4th. Outside, ball 1. Hicks tripled yesterday and drove in a couple of runs. trying to add on at least one more here in the fourth. Checked his swing, 1-1. A nice catch by Avila.
Hicks ahead in the count. You have to look for something up that you can drive. Maybe a sacrifice fly, maybe driving Rosario with a base hit.
That'll work.
Yep.
Through the drawn-in infield, an RBI single for Hicks.
Of course, you bring that infield in, and it cuts down the range of the infielders. And Ian Kinsler, very good at second base, diving to his right on this hard-hit ball. Again, Hicks had the count in his favor right off the end of the bat, but the ball goes sharply past the diving Kinsler into right field, and Aaron Hicks picks up his 9th RBI.
And that'll bring up Eric Fryer, who walked his first time up. Dealt with this last year when Fryer was up with the Twins, only had 75 at bats, but asked him again the other day about the fact that he does not wear any batting gloves. Every once in a while you'll see a player who doesn't wear them, and in the case of the Texas Rangers, it was a big news story that Prince Fielder and Mitch Moreland decided to go without batting gloves. The ball tapped foul, and it was a big deal because it's commonplace now. And Eric says he just likes the feel of the bat in his hand and has never professionally for years worn batting gloves.
Well, I remember Doug Minkiewicz never wore batting gloves. You know, they have the pine tar, which he's grabbing right there, that helps keep the bat in the hand. Danny Santana on deck. He has batting gloves on both hands.
There's a bunt. How about that?
Wow.
And Eric Fryer rolls up a perfect bunt. Third hit in a row for the Twins, and we've seen this become more and more part of the Twins hitting routine, dropping down bunts. Now the backup catcher drops one down.
Well, excellent bunt, excellent location of the bunt. Castellanos playing back to third baseman. Just lay it down softly. You can see Green's momentum takes him to first base. He can't get there, and it's an infield bunt single. So 3 straight hits for the Twins.
Danny Santana with a double. 4 for 9 in the series, and he's driven in 4 runs. I think as much as Sano's been impressive, one of the most encouraging things for the Twins as they go into the break is what they're starting to see now from Danny Santana. He's had better at bats. He's stabilized things in the field. He's bunted successfully a couple of times. Swing and a miss, 1-1, and I'm guessing Twins are looking for more of the same. I know they are in the second half. I wonder from Danny's perspective whether he's just a lot more relaxed now. And even at the start of the year when they dropped him down to 9th, the talk was, well, we need to get him back to the top of the lineup. I think in the second half we'll just see Danny Santana hitting right where he is.
Well, I remember Paul Molitor, they ended up optioning him down to AAA because they felt he was just trying to be too hard on himself.
Fly to right field. Martinez going back. That ball is not caught. Santana will have an extra base hit. Hicks will score. Fryer around third. He's going to score. Danny Santana with a 2-run triple. Look at the production from the bottom of the lineup. Triple, single, single, triple. And Danny Santana's driven in 6 runs in this series.
Well, a little spinner right there, right into that sweet swing of Santana in this at-bat. Over the head of Martinez. And then it was off to the races for Danny Santana, who had to make sure that Eric Fryer ahead of him, he wouldn't pass him. So right there, kind of slowing down, seeing what Fryer was going to do. And Fryer sent home by Gene Glenn, so it's a 2-run triple for Santana. His 5th triple of the year.
After his way to the cycle, he's got 2 extra base hits. And now Dozier again will have the infield in.
Yeah, while we were showing Santana's triple, pitching coach Jeff Jones made a trip out to the mound.
Five to 1. 4 straight hits. And Dozier jumps at that first pitch and fouls it to the screen. 25 triples. Almost as many triples before the All-Star break as the 27 they had all last year. It's a sign that this is a much more athletic team. Tap foul, 0-2.
Well, this is a ballpark, too, that if you can hit the gaps, you know, I mean, with 377 and left, then it shoots out to 411, and then 365 where Santana hit that ball, it shoots out to 403. If you can shoot it in those gaps and the speed that some of these guys have, like Hicks and like Santana, they will be not doubles, they will be triples.
Dozier got a piece of the off-speed pitch, fouling it back. Last year, Santana led the team with 7 triples, and they hit just 27 of them. This year, Santana's got 5 triples. Luce got 3. Robinson 2. Rosario 2. Bauer 2. Hicks only has 1. He's one of the fastest runners on the team.
Let's see if Bryant can drive in a run right here.
Looking going deep and foul.
Want him to go to the All-Star break in the 50s with runs batted in. You know, 49, that's good. It's kind of like if you know.
Well,
you want 50.
Alex Wilson warming up. When you combine the runs batted in and the runs scored, it's a pretty impressive total. You drive in 50 while scoring right now 67 runs. Of course, the home runs count for 1 of each. Right off the end of the bat, right behind Torrey Hunter's back. Green trying to get Dozier to swing and miss on some off-speed pitches, but Bryant's been able to get a piece of a couple.
Green has only 1 strikeout. That was Sano in the 3rd.
That's to center. Santana setting up for a tag. Goes as a very strong arm. He double clutches and throws off target. Dozier drives in his 50th, and it's a 4-run inning.
Yeah, to throw off Mark, Goes kind of put his hands on his knees, saying, boy, it should have been a better throw. But the speed of Danny Santana making Goes maybe hurry his throw a little bit, and it was off target.
Goes running toward the shortstop, Iglesias, to make that catch. Santana, of course, runs well. A 4-run inning after a 2-run first, and the number's pretty unsightly again for Shane Green. 6 earned runs. That's one of the things a third base coach will look at. Goes a left-handed thrower right off the end of the bat. And Kinsler over to Krause. That ends the inning. But the bottom of the Twins order, starting with Rosario, 4 hits and 4 runs. Gibson on a bit of a roll now with a 5-run lead. He'll face Castellanos, Kraus, and goes.
Well, yesterday, Phil Hughes had that 7-0 lead. Then he gave up 3 the next inning. So this is a big inning right here. Your teams get you 4. You want to get them back on that bench as quick as possible. And 1 pitch, 1 out.
And another perfect throw from Plouffe to Mauer, 1 down. Heat index climbing today, and a heat advisory for the Twin Cities area. And in full uniform on Military Appreciation Day, at least a white uniform, which might be a little bit cooler.
Well, I'll tell you what, the Twins, I congratulate them for having a day like they did, Military Appreciation Day. So many people out there that serve our country, and we thank you for that.
And especially, I think, appropriate since the Twins were away on the 4th of July. That the Twins make a special effort to honor the military here. We were home for Memorial Day, weren't we?
I believe so.
Yeah.
Yes.
25th, we were home with the Red Sox. 1-1. Mark Kraus drove in a run. He had a busted back grounder to Santana, and if they had somehow tried to turn it a little more efficiently than they ended up doing, they may have gotten a double play, but it was an unearned run that scored for the Tigers in the second. 1-2. Gibson just looks like he's in control. He's given up 2 leadoff hits, 1 in the first, 1 in the second, and that's been it.
A couple 2-3 starts ago for Kyle, he said that point right there, that balance point, that he said he feels very comfortable at.
Just look at his body of work this year. In 2013 and regularly last year, there were those short starts where he got off to a bad start and unable to even get through 5 innings. Ball blasted to right center field. Hicks is out there and makes the catch. Well hit by Kraus, but Hicks just gliding after the ball makes the catch.
Yeah, Kraus gave it a ride, but Aaron Hicks, who can cover some ground out there, does a good job. First couple steps. Take a look at Gibson's delivery. I'm talking about right here, right there. Once he explodes toward home plate, he just feels so comfortable. See him bending the back nicely, getting over his landing foot. And Aaron Hicks hustling over there, makes a nice running catch for the second out.
Fouled back.
You're going to make mistakes. I mean, the biggest thing is getting to that point of consistency. And I think that's what we're seeing Kyle at. Finding that consistency of a release point and then keeping that ball down to get the ground ball outs he's able to get.
1 strike to goes.
He's retired 10 straight.
That's to right field, and that'll die in front of Hunter. A 2-out single.
10 straight retired. Very nicely done, but Goes ruins that by getting a base hit.
Car Soup trivia question, our last one before the All-Star break. Who are the 2 other Twins second basemen to be named to an American League All-Star team? Talk about a softie. My gosh, put it on a tee. I'll bet you 99.9% of Twins fans will get that one right.
And I bet you I get 1 of 2. No, I think
I'm going to let you handle it because this is your last trivia question till we.
Oh, nice jump by Goes.
Bounced foul. Of course, now it's time for you to take a break. You've worked a couple weeks in a row now, so time to take 3-4 weeks off.
Hey, that's what my contract reads, just following my contract.
I believe on the other end of the break, Jack Morris will be working, and then somewhere in there, Roy Smalley will be working too. Right. 1 strike to Iglesias.
So Kyle pays a little more attention to Goes, who had a great jump. Moving those feet. I never noticed that much about a potential base stealer. I don't remember Ricky Henderson moving his feet. Like when we were in Cincinnati, we saw Billy Hamilton, how he just kept those, he'd be set like this, but once that pitcher comes set, then it's that little creep of the feet movement, and then the bounce out.
Backing out of play. Join us July 25th for a DQ Sensational Saturday. Boy, that sounds good right now on a hot, steamy afternoon. The Twins taking on the Yankees, and the first 10,000 fans get a Brian Dozier bobblehead presented by Fisher Nuts. Go to twinsbaseball.com/tickets to get your tickets today. 0-2 to the number 9 batter, Jose Iglesias. Oakland beat Cleveland 2-0. Sonny Gray beating Corey Kluber. And just to wrap up the thought about Gibson and his short starts, he's had only one start this year of less than 5 innings, and that was his season opening start against Shane Green and the Tigers. Gibson aware of those in his speed and willingness, I suspect, to steal, even though the Tigers are down 6-1. On the ground, got in on the handle with his bat, and Mauer with a stretch and a catch. A scoreless hit for Kyle Gibson.
Twins providing a comfortable lead right now at 6-1, and we're right in the middle of the winner's circle for the Minnesota State Lottery. 100 scratch-off tickets, 4 seats, 4 generations of Johnsons from Hugo, Minnesota. That's what Family Day is all about. Reed, what a great day to come to the ballpark, and what a unique way to celebrate with 4 generations.
Absolutely. I got my son with me, my grandson who's turning 9 next week, and in 5 days at the end of the row is my father. He's turning 86 on the 17th. 4 generations of Johnsons.
On Family Day at the ballpark, what an honor to get circled by a Hall of Famer, Bert Blatland, before he goes on hiatus for the next 6 weeks. Well done, guys. Congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you, Bert.
The Johnsons, you are all hereby circled. Isn't that great? That's what baseball can do. Just bring families together where you can have nice reunions, watch a good ball game, get good seats in the shade.
1 strike to Mauer. Leading off the 5th. I'm a little surprised Shane Green's still out there. He hasn't really done much to deserve to stay in the game. The Twins scored 2 in the first. He walked 2, gave up a double in the second, had a 1-2-3 third, and then gave up 4 hits and 4 runs in the fourth.
Well, you mentioned, they have Sanchez, Verlander, they have Price, but they need that 4th and 5th starter to step up. And Green given another opportunity. Stretch it out here, maybe have a better 5th inning, at least get some positive out of this outing. Save an inning out of that bullpen.
Got a 4-day break coming up. Mauer, Sano, and Plouffe here in the 5th. fouled away.
Green again making only his 27th start, 28th start. 9 wins at the big league level, 10 losses. Came over from the Yankees. 4 different stints last year with the Yankees. Ended up making 14 starts last year for the Yankees. Won 5 ball games.
Fouled away. Mauer will go into the All-Star break with modest numbers. But he's hit second or third throughout the first half, and I don't think Paul Molitor's inclined to move him out of those 2 spots. And it might be that Paul thrown to the backstop, 3-2. It might be that Mauer's numbers will improve with a productive bat behind him. And as Sano continues to produce, assuming that's exactly what happens in the second half, it's plausible to think that Mauer's numbers will improve because of who's hitting behind him, a legitimate power threat. 3-2, and Joe flips one foul.
I remember Joe, I mean, maybe a month ago was hitting, in the 250s, and now all of a sudden he comes to this plate appearance, hitting 273. So he's been swinging a good bat. And you'd like to have protection throughout the lineup.
Kinsler backhands it, sets and fires one away. That'll bring up Sano, started the scoring with a 2-run home run, and you can see the Twins have spread things around again, but it's really nice to see the bottom of the order.
Yeah, especially in that 4th inning with the triple RBI single, the bunt, very nice bunt by Eric Fryer, and then the 2-run triple by Danny Santana.
It's rare that a team, particularly a team with a winning record as the Twins have had most of the season, to call someone up from Double-A and very quickly move him into the cleanup spot. There's a check swing and a strike. But that's what the Twins have done with Miguel Sano.
Hey, all right, come on. Come on.
Started in the 6th spot on the batting order, moved quickly to 5th, and even quicker moved to the cleanup spot. They've left him there. He's continued to produce, and it is not without precedent that someone without any more than 3 months time in the big leagues can be a candidate for the Rookie of the Year. If you were to give the award at the All-Star break, I'm guessing Devin Travis of the Blue Jays would win the award. He's in the top 3 in the Triple Crown categories in the American League and hitting over 300 among rookies. 1-2 to Sano. And he waves at a slow breaking ball. 2nd strikeout in a row.
Only the 2nd strikeout of Green, getting Sano both of those. You see the staff, of course, Justin Verlander's season just getting going. He has not had a win yet, but what David Price brings, the 9-2 record, everybody else has been. So look at the earned run average.
And so if the Tigers get from Verlander what he gave them Friday night, then we'll show a different chart in September when we face them again. But one final thought about Sano and where he's hitting and what he's doing and all that. In 1959, Willie McCovey was the National League Rookie of the Year. There's a ball ripped to left center field. That ball is scalded. Gone, a home run for Bluth. His 11th of the year. And that got out in a hurry.
Well, Trevor has enjoyed hitting home runs here at Target Field. Of his 11 home runs, 9 of them hit here. First home run since June 26th. He got a pitch that stayed up, a breaking ball, and lined it into the bullpen of the Detroit Tigers. A line drive home run.
And Green ends up starting the 5th inning, but he doesn't finish it as he gives up 7 earned runs in 4 2/3 innings, and the Tigers will go into the second half of the year with question marks, plural, in their starting rotation. Twins enjoying a 7-1 lead. Again in the 5th inning here at Target Field. Fox Sports Support's proud to team up with Boys and Girls Clubs of America. Boys and Girls Clubs help young people reach their full potential as productive, caring, and responsible citizens through programs that promote character and leadership, education, healthy lifestyles, and more. For more info, visit foxsportsupports.com. Ian Kroll coming into the ball game to try to wrap things up for the Tigers in the bottom of the 5th.
Kroll worked in yesterday's ball game an inning out of relief. Through 20 pitches, 13 for strikes, and the Twins 9-5 win. Making his 14th appearance on the year. This is his 3rd stint this season with the Tigers. Started the season with the Tigers in their bullpen in an area that they have really tried to find some left-handers that can throw some strikes. They've gone through a lot of different lefties out of that bullpen.
Phil Koch out there for a number of years, and he struggled. Isn't hit to left center field, and goes, comes in, can't make the play, and Rosario has his second hit, dropping a soft liner in front of the center fielder. Twins lineups looks like it's starting to shake loose after being shut down by David Price. No shame in that.
You know, I'm just wondering, Rosario, I mean, here's a guy that they called up, you know, and he just looks like every game he's getting better and better. Yesterday, 3 hits, and he's just so steady. He looks like he belongs. We talk so much about Sano, but Rosario, my goodness, just a quiet, good hitter.
Rosario getting up to 200 at bats now, and that allows me, I hope, to complete my thought. Willie McCovey in 1959 won the Rookie of the Year with 192 at bats. So there's a precedent set for someone who didn't play a full year, but having an impact to the point where they still won a postseason award. Now, in Sano's case, I'm not suggesting he needs anything more than a long shot, but you bring up a good point. Rosario's built up a longer and better resume over a longer period of time, and the Twins are, it appears, going to have a very impactful rookie class here in 2015.
Yeah, and again, look at Aaron Hicks right there. He gets up his second hit. You see the confidence in him. So, yeah, I mean, a lot of guys are stepping up. There's Sano, Rosario, and Hicks now starting to feel comfortable, like he belongs here.
And Paul Molitor touched on it this morning in meeting with the media that, you know, going into this year, Twins, at least the baseball department, realized this could very easily be a year of transition. In other words, the team that the Twins left spring training with might not be the team they end the season with, meaning Buxton and Sano and guys like that, Rosario.
Right.
But what's interesting to me is this transition has been fully executed in the first half. You know, these guys are here, and I don't know how much more transition there is. Maybe with Jose Barrios, and we'll talk more about him when we come back. Twins as they lead at 7-1. Dozier's deck is back this year on August 29th. A special offer including a Skyline deck ticket and a Dozier Blaze Orange t-shirt. Portion of the proceeds will benefit Pheasants Forever. From every ticket sold, call 833-TWINS. Visit twinsbaseball.com/Dozier's deck and get your tickets today.
You know, I think we need to congratulate all the players and the time that they put into Hope Week this last week. You know, every day that these players have had some place to go here, whether it be with, you know, different organizations, but the players, I mean, they donated their time just to give it back to the community. Very, very well done.
One strike, and now Kinsler with a liner to left center field. That's down for a hit.
Not only the players, everybody involved from the front office.
And the wives who had their raffle this weekend and raising money for the Twins Community Fund. Kinsler aboard with a leadoff single here in the 6th.
Kinsler picking up his second hit. Only the 4th hit for the Tigers off of Gibson.
It's a 7-1 game. Twins leading comfortably, but an early key at bat was Gibson's battle with Cespedes in the first inning. Twins hadn't come to the plate yet, hadn't had a chance to score the runs that they did. Gibson really battled Cespedes, and after Kinsler's single leading off the ball game, Gibson finally got the ground ball double play on the 10th pitch of the at bat, and Gibson's looked in control ever since. The way the Twins have struggled against Cespedes, you're happy to get one out when he comes to the plate. You don't expect to get two. Lace to center, and Hicks with at least one adjustment on the route makes the catch. And I wanted to bring up a young man who started at Double-A, now is on the Triple-A roster, and today for the second year in a row he started for the World team in the Futures game in Cincinnati. Jose Barrios. Now, you technically managed him last year, and it's interesting how the Twins rotation is so deep. They've actually got a starter, Trevor May, in the bullpen right now, but at any time in the last 4 years for a Jose Barrios, someone like that, they would have been called up to the big league team already, and the fact is there's no room for him.
Well, he did very well in Double-A to get promoted to Rochester Triple-A, and see if Gibson can turn to double play here.
How about that?
How about it? We'll talk about Barrios next inning.
In addition to everything else, Gibson, one of the better fielding pitchers in the American League, and he pounced off the mound to start a 1-6-3 double play. Sports North is presented by Toyota. See where Toyota takes you. Test drive one at your Toyota dealer. Toyota, let's go places. By Sanford Orthopedics and Sports Medicine for the everyday competitor in all of us. And by McDonald's. Have bold for breakfast with the new chorizo burrito from McDonald's. There's photographer extraordinaire Ralph Gasso, who does a lot of the great recording work for Fox Sports North. Danny Santana hitting right-handed, taking ball one. Santana with a double and a triple already. Checks his swing, and it's 2-0. All right, let's talk about Berríos, because that's an example of how deep the Twins' rotation has become with 6 starters, 5 spots. And Berríos having to take the intermediate stop at AAA that a lot of the position players haven't had to take.
Well, you know what? I was saying he did a good job at AA, made the All-Star team, and going to be part of the Futures game. Now he's worked a couple times. He started a couple times in AAA and has done okay, not as good as he did in AA. So, yeah, you get an opportunity now because of the strength of the starting staff for the Twins to let him mature a little bit down in the minor leagues.
It's quite an honor, though, for 2 years in a row, the top pitching prospect. And I think he's become that more than Alex Meyer right now, to be frank.
Yeah, a lot of people label him as a little Pedro Martinez, the way he's not a big guy, but boy, his arms, the ball comes out of his hand very nicely. Got a nasty slider, changes speeds well.
Santana with another 2-strike foul.
Got a chance to see him in spring training. He works hard and wants to achieve and get to the big leagues one day.
Santana, Dozier, and Hunter in the 6th, facing Ian Kroll. Chop foul. With Santana's surge here, we'll call it that. It's been short-lived. My goodness, even with his 2 hits today, the average just up to 226. But much better at bats, more stable play in the field. Two and 2. Swings and misses. 1 down.
Let's go back to last inning when Kyle Gibson fielded that ball. Now, before that, Sepsidis hit that line drive to Hicks. Now, as walking back to the mound, he looked at Danny Santana and said, okay, I got a lefty up. Who's covering? And he pointed to Santana. And sure enough, what you want to do as a pitcher, exactly what Gibson did, throw that ball right over the bag, let your middle infielder turn the double play. He did the first part. Santana did the second part.
And Kroll gives up a couple of hits, retires a couple of batters, and he leaves with 1 out in the 6th. And you can now tweet your strongest fan photo. Use hashtag NorthDataStrongFan, and you just might see yourself in an upcoming broadcast brought to you by T-Mobile. Al Albuquerque comes out of the Detroit bullpen to face the top of the Twins order.
Yeah, they've had some question marks out in that bullpen, but not one of them from this young right-hander right here. Good slider out of Albuquerque, making his 37th relief appearance. 33 hits allowed in the 38 innings. 18 walks, 2 intentional, 38 strikeouts. Albuquerque in his 5th season with the Tigers.
Face Dozier 0 for 2 with a sacrifice fly. You got your wish. Dozier drove in his 50th run. And with the 67 runs allowed, that's a lot of production. Of course, with the 19 home runs, that's 1 in each column. A run scored and a run batted in, but remarkable first half turned in by Dozier.
Well, since I was begging for the 50, can I beg for the 20 home runs? He's got 19.
I've been working with you now 21 years. I've seen you beg a lot.
Albuquerque's given up 4 home runs.
1 and 2.
Albuquerque 6 foot tall. They have him at 195. Out of the Dominican Republic.
It's hooked down the line toward the corner. Cespedes makes a running catch, 2 away. Kansas City's having a tough time with a big lead. They had a 7-0 lead, and the Blue Jays coming back at 7-5.
No surprise that Blue Jay offense, if they get on a roll, they can score some runs.
But the comeback has come in the 5th and the 6th innings. And yesterday, too, the Royals went, Herrera, Davis, and Holland to not tie down the win. Here's Hunter, a walk in front of Sano's home run in the first inning. Since then, 0 for 2. Tapped up the line, foul. Again, it's worth repeating, and if it's worth repeating, it's worth repeating twice, so I'll do that. Twins, it looks like, will go into the break with the 2nd best record in the American League. This is a team that over the last 4 years, and we try to forget as much about that as we can.
What happened?
Up high, they average 32 wins at home, and if this score holds or something close to it, the Twins will go into the break with 31 home wins. 1-1 to Hunter. Foul back, 1-2.
Well, the second half starts in Oakland, then Anaheim. One area that they would like to do a better job of is Went on the road a little bit better, 18 and 24 on the road.
West Coast trips are always tough, not just for the Twins. Twins will run into some really good pitching in that Oakland series, and
Angels are playing good.
Angels are playing good baseball
Yes,
as well. Houston lost again today. They'll go into the break with a 6-game losing streak, and if the Angels win their game, they'll be in first place in the West. On the outside corner, and Albuquerque finishes off a 1-2-3 6th inning. Here's the Grand Casino story of the game.
Well, Miguel Sano got the Twins on the board with his second home run, a 2-run home run in the bottom of the first inning. At the bottom of the order in the fourth inning, a triple by Rosario. RBI single by Aaron Hicks. A perfectly placed bunt by Eric Fryer. Then a big 2-run triple off the bat of Danny Santana. We saw Trevor Plouffe in the fifth inning, hitting his 11th home run. And Kyle Gibson has been outstanding. 6 very good innings. Only run given up is an unearned run to the Tigers.
Fox Tracks presented by Chrysler, with Gibson delivering strike 1 to J.D. Martinez.
Yeah, Gibson needed only 5 pitches to get out of the 6th inning. Kinsler's base hit, the line drive off the bat of Cespedes, and then just like that, Martinez hit back to Gibson. He turned a double play.
Swing and a miss, 0-2. Martinez, Avila, and Castellanos in the Detroit 7. Blue Jays have tied the Royals. Still batting in the top of the 6th, 7-7. Blue Jays tried to do to Kansas City in the 6th inning today what the Twins did to the Tigers in the 9th inning on Friday. You know, everyone involved with the Twins was hoping that that incredible comeback would carry over to the next couple games, and it appears that it has. But to kind of put a little twist on an old baseball adage, momentum is as good as your next day's starting pitcher. It's also as good as the other guy's next day's starting pitcher. And what this 4-game series has underscored, to me at least, the Tigers are great in the first 2 spots in their rotation and maybe in their third with Sanchez, but they've got some major issues in the back end of their rotation. With J.D. Martinez drawing a leadoff walk, Alfredo Simon wasn't good yesterday, and Shane Green wasn't good today.
No. First walk by Gibson. How about Carew and Chuck Knobloch?
Well, there they are. Carew and Chuck Knobloch, the answer to our trivia question, and now you're done. When will you rejoin the Twins broadcasting?
I will be back here on August 11th.
Are you kidding me? It's July 12th today.
Only a month off. Well, you have the All-Star break. You have the Hall of Fame weekend. And then a couple weeks of working on my golf game. But I'll be watching every game.
Well, I'm afraid of that because the subject of your extended time off might come up a time or two. You know what? And I know you well enough to know you'll enjoy the time off, but you're going to miss watching what's going to unfold here after the All-Star break with this team going into the break with a lot of momentum.
I hope so. I hope, you know, everybody, they get 4 days off except for, of course, Perkins and Dozier. And that's an exciting time for them. But hopefully players go home, stay safe, and get back with what they want to do is win ball games.
1 and 2. I asked Paul Molitor today because he went through it all those years as a player. You know, is there anything to the notion that, all right, we're really playing good baseball, we don't want the All-Star break? And he said no. He said it's, you know, the players who were going through the grind physically. Always, regardless of how well you're playing individually or collectively, the All-Star break is always welcome.
You look forward to it, and then you wake up the next day, say on Monday, wherever you're at, and you say, wait a minute, I have to be at the ballpark at 2 o'clock?
He said, you know, he went to Fort Myers in the middle of February to get ready for his first spring training. Now outside, and Gibson, who got ahead of Martinez, lost him, is in danger of doing the same thing to Avila.
Yeah, first walk for Kyle. We had Avila here 3-2 in the second inning. He ended up striking him out on a called third strike.
And back-to-back walks, and Gibson's going to be a little upset with himself with how the 7th inning has started.
Yeah, that was almost the same pitch that struck him out in the second inning. This time, 2 straight balls.
Neil Allen will come out, try to give Gibson a bit of a mental break. You know, just think about that, though, and the players right behind the manager. That's 6 months from the middle of February to the middle of July, where it's pretty much pedal to the metal. And so, no, everybody will enjoy the break in the hopes that Twins will be able to pitch well coming out of the break. There's O'Rourke and May getting loose.
Yeah, Kyle with 91 pitches, 60 strikes. Has 5 strikeouts, now a couple walks. And 17, 17, 15, 13, 12 outstanding, only 5 last inning, but 12 so far here in the 7th inning. Looking for the first out.
Castellanos 0 for 2, couple of ground balls, 1 to short, 1 to third. Gibson hoping to get 1 more ground ball double play. He's already had 2 today.
There's 9 ground ball outs, 4 fly ball outs.
Swing and a miss. Coming into the inning without an earned run allowed. Gibson's earned run average right now 2.88. Which is just a few micro ticks higher than Tommy Malone's. Down and away. One and one count. Mark Wegner giving the physical call. 1-1. The scoreboard had 0-2. Bouncer to short. Santana to Dozier. Dozier to Mauer. Double play. The third turn behind Gibson this afternoon. And there could have been a fourth.
They talk about a pitcher's best friend. Kyle has needed that here this afternoon. And with the 3 double plays now, 22 turn behind Kyle Gibson. And this is his 18th start. So a big part of his game. Trust your infield. And it's a very good infield as far as turning double plays.
So far, 4 hits for the Tigers. They've all been singles. Never more than 1 in an inning. And here's Krause. Fouled away, 1 strike. in the second half of the year, the toughest stretch in terms of the grind, and we talked about the grind of the first half, but the toughest stretch for the Twins will be from the middle of August to just about the middle of September, when there will be just 6 home games. Twins have a week-and-a-half long road trip, then 6 home games, and another week-and-a-half long road trip. It's a long ways down the road, but it sure appears at this point as if those games and the ones beyond it are going to be, as they say, significant games. 2-1. Gibson trying to wrap up the 7th inning without allowing an earned run. Called strike 2 and 2. Knowing full well that as the Tigers are 7 outs away from falling back to the 500 mark, they'll have to go at least another month without Miguel Cabrera. And the Royals, who have now given back the entire lead and are trailing Toronto, they'll have to go at least that long without Alex Gordon. 7 wonderful innings for Kyle Gibson without allowing an earned run, and he comes off the mound with he and the Twins leading 7-1.
Pretty good trip to the mound by Neil Allen. Whatever he told him, it worked. Double play and a strikeout.
On Military Appreciation Day here at Target Field, we will pause to bring you God Bless America.
God bless America, land that I love. Stand beside her and guide her through the night, through the light from above, from the mountains to the prairies, to the oceans wide with foam. God bless America, my home, sweet home. God bless America, my home, sweet home.
Twins baseball on Fox Sports North, brought to you by Super America. Seven to 1, the Twins in front. Joe Mauer will lead things off against Bruce Rondon.
Yeah, Rondon, he was He came into the ball game here on Friday night, and the Twins started banging around base hits off him. Worked only 2/3 of an inning, gave up 3 earned runs. Hard throwing right-hander.
Bauer will lead off the 7th. He takes up high, ball 1. Biggest criticism the Tigers had for Rondon, with Rajai Davis now in left field, was what he's already done here, falling behind hitters. And that has been the challenge for him throughout his professional career. They've loved the arm, an arm that can throw at 100 miles per hour, but if you don't throw strikes, what good is it?
Yeah, he too was also coming off that Tommy John surgery he had in March of last year. So he started the season on a disabled list, activated, sent down to the minor leagues back in June, and then recalled by the Tigers on June 25th. Guy that had a lot of saves in the minor leagues.
2-1. Foul back.
I think we saw it here the other night, Dick, and I mentioned, yeah, you can throw that ball at 96, 97, but if you throw it right there belt high, I don't care where you're at, you're going to get hit, especially at this level. Basically a fastball, slider, changeup type pitcher.
And another foul. Still 2-2.
Changeup right there at 88. Rondon, just 24 years old, from Venezuela, signed by the Tigers in 2007.
And an off-speed pitch. Mauer strikes out, 1 down. Twins have had some fun here today. 7 runs on 9 hits, but Mauer's 0 for 4.
This copyrighted telecast presented by the authority of the Minnesota Twins and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form. And the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the Minnesota Twins, LLC.
Here is Sano. On an 0-2 pitch, he got a breaking ball and hammered it into the seats and left. And another half swing, strike 1. Since then, a couple of strikeouts. We've talked about the Twins' home record, the best in the American League. And this is, of the in the first half of the year, the 7th homestand. And it looks like it's going to end up as the best homestand in terms of winning percentage at 6-1. Fouled and then deflecting back into the crowd. There's been only 1 losing homestand. That was that odd one with the Brewers. The Brewers came in here, took 2 out of 3, and then the Royals swept the Twins. The Twins have, or had, a 1-5 homestand. All the others have been winning homestands. So this is no fluke. They've just played a lot better baseball at home. 2 strikes, and now inside. Inside again, 2-2.
Yeah, Rondon, a big guy. They list him at 6'3", about 275. He has a little bit of turn over that balance. He'll work out of the stretch position. Turn his torso a little bit towards shortstop. Trying to hide that ball a little bit.
Bounced foul.
That was a hanger.
Not so sure the Tigers are any farther ahead in their timeline with Rondon as the Twins are with Alex Meyer. Meyer can throw upper 90s, 97, 98, but he didn't show command when he was here in his brief trial. And Rondon, too, 6 innings, 3 walks, 8 hits, and a lot of at-bats where he's fallen behind. dribbled up the line, and Castellanos fires across, and Sano retired, 2 down. Tuesday, baseball's best players gather in Cincinnati for the Midsummer Classic with home field advantage for the World Series on the line. Coverage of the 2015 MLB All-Star Game begins July 14th, 6 p.m. Central on Fox and streaming live on Fox Sports Go.
Yeah, but we have seen guys, and it takes almost a year, maybe 2 years, to come back from that Tommy John surgery. Again, Rondon had that surgery last year, missed all of last year. And then, you know, it's a slow process, and I'm sure they're looking at this young man right here, that maybe the second half his arm will continue to get stronger, and he could be a big part of maybe that setup role that they're looking for. They went out and got Natali Felice that pitched in yesterday's ball game from the Texas Rangers. Hard throwing right-hander.
The Rangers gave up on him because he wasn't pitching effectively. If you can throw the ball hard, Felice still can. There'll be a market for you. While the Tigers were in Minnesota, they officially released Jabba Chamberlain, who still was throwing 94, 95, but giving up a lot of hits. Royals have retaken the lead on the Blue Jays, 9-8, bottom of the 6th. 2-0 to Trevor Plouffe. On one hop, Kinsler fields a high hop, and Rondon has a 1-2-3-7.
Studio Sports Update. As the Twins head into the All-Star break, it's a good chance to look at last year's Midsummer Classic at Target Field. It was capped off with hometown favorite Glenn Perkins and his Twins battery mate Kurt Suzuki teaming up to notch the save in a 5-3 AL win.
And Ed Yost has dropped some hints that Perkins might be asked to close the game again if the American League has a lead. Between innings, home plate umpire Mark Wegner and Paul Molitor had a brief chat about something maybe about Rondon out on the mound. At any rate, we know they weren't talking about a class reunion. Molitor went to Cretin and Wegner to Cretin Durham Hall, but if it was about a class reunion, Joe Bauer would have been part of the conversation as well. And he wasn't. Have you ever gone back to a high school class reunion?
One time, my 10th.
Your 10th?
My 10th year reunion, yes. How about yourself?
Well, they always have them during the summer,
right.
and I think they do that on purpose so I can't show.
Smart. Whoever your president was, very smart. Here's Trevor May, 7 very good innings for Kyle Gibson. The run allowed is an unearned run off of him, and Trevor May coming in. He worked here on Friday night. A shutout inning, did give up a couple hits, and the Twins 8-6 win.
He got the win.
He's got the win his last 2 relief appearances.
And actually, in retrospect, he did a nice job giving up a couple of hits, but then not giving up any runs because, you know, the Twins came back and scored 7 times to win the ball game.
Yeah, this is just his 3rd relief appearance. Now, hopefully with a 7-1 lead, he's not coming in here looking for the win. But he did get the win here on Monday against the Baltimore Orioles, and then he picked it up, like I mentioned, on Friday. Good curveball right there. Go's got a base hit in his last at bat that continues a hitting streak he's on, a 10-game hitting streak now. Only 4 hits in the ballgame for the Tigers, all of them singles.
Checked his swing successfully, 2-2. And the Twins have decided to leave Trevor May out of the bullpen after the All-Star break. They'll come out of the break with a rotation in this order: Santana, Hughes, Malone in Oakland, then Gibson and Pelfrey. Rinse and repeat the rest of the way. At least that's the hope. Malone, of course, will pitch on a familiar mound in Oakland. 3-2 to Go's. Iglesias, Kinsler will follow. Cracked foul. And it has been the competitiveness and credibility of the starting rotation that has gotten the Twins to where they are right now. Chop to third. Plouffe has to hurry. Bare hands, flips, throws. Good play. 1 down.
Nice play by Trevor Plouffe.
July 27th, Glenn Perkins and Brian Dunsing's celebrity bass fishing tournament will be at Lord Fletcher's on Lake Minnetonka. $1,000 is the charge to sponsor a boat and fish with a pro. Each boat features a local celebrity and a professional bass fisherman. Proceeds will benefit the Leukemia and Lymphoma Society of Minnesota. Call 800-33-TWINS for more information. And it's just a shame that you're not going to be in town to participate in this, because it would be great for somebody who's never caught a fish because you threw the rod in the water.
The pole, yeah.
Yeah.
I have to try. I didn't realize that. So you hold on to the pole and you throw the.
Yep. And there's a thing on a reel that holds the line, and then at the end of the line, a lure, a hook of some sort.
Okay, that's what I throw in the water.
That's what you throw in the water.
Okay.
I don't even want to begin the discussion of you about fly fishing. That's a completely different deal. 2 hops again.
Flies don't.
2 down.
You can catch a fly?
See, yeah, that's why 2 down. Let's move on.
Another nice play by Trevor Plouffe.
Kinsler with a couple of hits. Tigers have just 4 of them, and they've all been singles.
It's not very good with flies.
You have gone fishing.
I have gone fishing, yes.
Deep sea fishing.
It just came out of my mouth the wrong way, which a lot of things do.
Fox Tracks presented by Carrier. It's the hunting, and you holding a gun. I think that has everybody petrified.
Sorry, I don't have one of those.
At the knees, a strike.
2 good pitches. You see Fox Tracks brought by Carrier right there where those pitches are. Perfect pitches. Kinsler has 2 of the 4 hits for the Tigers.
Up the middle, through for a hit.
Well, you saw the first 2 pitches and then the 0-2 pitch left up, and Kinsler gets his 3rd hit.
The hope in the second half is that the rotation will be effective and healthy, because I think the Twins are intrigued with May being in this spot in the 8th inning, and not necessarily in a game that's 6 runs one way or the other. That is the area of need for the Twins. They're fine, obviously, with their closer Glenn Perkins, and they've seen Brian Dunsing pitch better. And Blaine Boyer has been okay. He was really good first 10 weeks of the season, and he's been okay since. But I think if you were to address or look at areas that might need to be addressed in the second half, this 7th, 8th inning area with Casey Fiend left alone there, and Presley's on the disabled list. 3 assists for Trevor Plouffe. It could be an area where Trevor May might be asked to step in and help out.
Here as we're in the middle of the 8th inning. Stay with us directly after the game for Twins Live, presented by CenturyLink. We'll break down another sterling performance by young Kyle Gibson, in position to win his 4th consecutive and 8th of the first half of the season. We'll also take a look at the bottom of the order. They were red hot yesterday, and a key factor in that one, they've done it again today against Detroit. And we'll bring you inside the clubhouse and get the manager's thoughts from Paul Molitor, what he's looking forward to in the break, and what he's also looking forward to when the Twins head to the West Coast, guys, and try to keep the momentum they're building right now.
Well, thank you, Kevin. The Twins leading here, hoping to finish this homestand at 6-1. And Blaine Hardy comes out of the Detroit bullpen.
Yeah, he's done a good job out of that bullpen, making his 39th relief appearance in his 2nd season with Detroit. Not an overpowering fastball, curveball, slider, a very good changeup.
Strike 1 to Rosario. He'll be followed by Hicks and Fryer. And 0-2. Cubs beat the White Sox, so of the games that have finished, the American League Central teams have lost. Both the White Sox and the Indians have lost. Royals are leading the Blue Jays 10-8 in the 7th. Interesting column today about the magical Twins season of 1965 in the Minneapolis Star-Tribune, about the season and how it really put Twins baseball on the map with what ended up being a World Series year. But the All-Star game that was played at Metropolitan Stadium, won by the National League. And Rosario swings and misses. He's a strikeout victim here in the 8th. Slug your way to the home run derby crown and master the free award-winning game millions are playing. It's action-packed, insanely fun. You can play in Great American Ballpark, home of the 2015 All-Star Game, with the Derby participants. Download MLB.com Home Run Derby on the App Store and Google Play.
You know, it's fun to go back to the 65 World Series or All-Star games around that time. How many future Hall of Famers were in that game?
Hicks takes strike 1. You know, particularly as an American League fan all those years, I went, why is the National League winning all these things? And then you look at the 65 All-Star game and look at the roster they had.
Harvey Killebrew was in that era where he played.
But just Hall of Fame caliber players. You had the Hall of Famers on the American League side: Brooks Robinson, Harmon Killebrew. And there's a pop-up and basket catch by Krause, 2 away. Al Kaline. And that was it in the National League. Willie Mays, Hank Aaron, Willie Stargell, Roberto Clemente, Ron Santo, Ernie Banks, Pete Rose. I doubt will ever get into the Hall of Fame. I think Joe Torre should, on the merits of his playing career. He's in as a manager. And then pitchers: Drysdale, Koufax, Gibson, Billy Williams, pinch hit in that game.
And you wonder why the National League won?
But they won, what was it, like 19 out of 20 or something like that. My goodness, did they have the talent. 2-0. But it was really, as the columnist points out, it was the first time this area drew the attention of the country. Wasn't the world back then, but the country, for being a major league community. The ball hit down the corner, but it'll go foul, and Fryer cracked his bat. Back then, the game was played in the daytime. Harmon Killebrew hit a home run, but Willie Mays managed or led off the game with a home run.
What's the final score of that game?
6-5.
6-5. Good game.
Harmon hit his home run in the 5th inning, part of a 4-run inning, and that tied the game after Milt Pappas and Mudcat Grant gave up some early runs.
Nice going, Bud.
Mudcat's coming back, I believe, for the '65 reunion, which is where this was all headed. The Twins, the end of July, early August, are going to have a big reunion with just about all the living members of that team committing to attending. A 1-2-3-8 for Blaine Hardy. It has been a great homestand. Miguel Sano's first as a member of the Minnesota Twins. Hey, nice touch here. Excuse me. Brian Dozier being taken out of the game by manager Paul Molitor. And a substitution coming into second base, Eduardo Escobar, and the manager giving Dozier one more a round of applause and tip of the cap from the Twins faithful here.
Very nice gesture. And have a lot of fun, Brian Dozier, at the All-Star game.
And Trevor May will try to finish things off. Hicks going back, still going back, still going back, and it's over his head, hits the top of the wall, and then goes over. And Victor Martinez, who's been held in check somewhat in this 4-game series, gets a double, the first extra base hit for the Tigers. Time now for What's Next, brought to you by CenturyLink. You can see the Twins will head out on the West Coast. 3 in Oakland, an off day, and then 3 against the Angels, who might very well be in first place by then. Leadoff double for Victor Martinez. And now J.D. Martinez.
Yeah, there's Escobar taking over for Dozier at second.
One strike.
And Trevor May in his second inning of relief.
And a foul. 0-2. And up and away, 1-2.
You know, sometimes we talk about the All-Star break for the players. What about the coaches sometimes? You know, I mean, they're the ones that have put in all the time. They're here usually around noon for a 7 o'clock game. They'll get a break.
Yep. It knocks the pitcher's glove off, but May recovers to get the out. 1 down.
Yeah, Martinez taking that ball right back up the middle. Trevor May just kind of put his glove down, and the ball hit his glove. Take a look right here. Watch the follow through. May putting a glove, and ball ends up knocking the glove out of his hand, but alertly he picks up the ball. And Victor Martinez stays at second. Twins able to get the first out of Martinez at first.
And now Alex Avila.
Struck out a couple times against Kyle Gibson, who had 6 strikeouts in his 7 innings of work. Also walked.
That's a knockdown by Mauer. May to the bag. Nice play for out number 2. Headed down the line. And Mauer knocked it down and retrieved it in foul territory.
Yeah, it looked like a double in the weight making right there, but Joe going to his left makes a nice play. Avila pulling this ball. You see Mauer not really guarding the line, but is able to knock it down, and there's the pitcher, May, to get the out. A good reaction by Joe, and when he went over there, you barehanded. Don't try to pick it up with your glove. Exactly what Joe did right there. Pick it up with your bare hand and then get the out.
Down and away, ball 1. Popped up to right field. Mauer and Escobar. It's Escobar, and the Twins' last homestand before the All-Star break is the best homestand before the All-Star break, as they go to the break with a 6-1 homestand.
And they needed to win in this 4-game series against the Tigers. Very important. Tigers came in winning 7 of 9, and the Twins won 3 of 4 here.
49-40 going into the break with their 31st home win. The Twins, Anthony, go into the break with momentum.
Dramatically different field than a year ago when they were sitting in last in the Central, 10.5 back. We'll reflect on this first half of the Twins. An outstanding start for Kyle Gibson. We'll hear from Paul Molitor. Take a look at the Twins' bottom of the lineup. All coming up on Twins Live, presented by CenturyLink.